Welcome back to Cryptos Are Us. I'm George. We're all George. So, we have unexpected news today. The CEO of Vanguard, if you don't know, is arguably as big, if not bigger, than BlackRock. And its CEO just reported that he was stepping down. Why? Does this have something to do with Bitcoin and a massive demand from the ETFs? Well, let's talk about this, and let's talk about what happened with Bitcoin today. Why didn't we go up any higher? Is this normal? And let's talk about a certain niche that is set to blow up. A lot of things to talk about tonight, guys. All right, let's do this. Welcome. Unfortunately, Bitcoin did not form another high. And this is actually probably what we want. We've been seeing a lot of volatility recently. A lot of people have been making a ton of money, right? And we're starting to see a little bit of that fun. And what's that fun? Volatility. I mean, like, look at it before, right? It was so flat. Bitcoin didn't move. And these days, we're seeing a lot of up and downs. And that's because there's a lot of bears and bulls. There's a lot of leverage going on, right? There's a lot of back and forth. It's getting a little more exciting. But I'm going to show you guys one guy that is about to get wrecked soon. And I'm not even talking about Vanguard CEO. So that's just doubling and tripling down on his shorts, which makes no sense. But why did Bitcoin take a breather today finally? We're at 61,000. And again, hopefully none of you guys are like bearish all of a sudden, okay? You can't be bearish when Bitcoin is at $61,000 when we still have 2 months before the halving event. So if that's you, cut it out. But we're taking a little breather. That's okay. But what happened? Let me show you exactly what happened. Grayscale or Genesis, whoever, decided to do a massive sell today. $600 million. $600 million of Bitcoin was sold from Grayscale today. Don't know what happened. We know yesterday it did get bumped up to 200 something. Today, 600 million. So this is a prime example of how strong Bitcoin is. You need someone to dump $600 million worth of Bitcoin, over $500 million. You need someone to dump that much to bring Bitcoin down $1,000. We started the day at 62 and we're at 61 and the day is not over. Think about it. You need 600 million. So how long could this last? Can Grayscale sell 600 million every single day for the remainder of this year? Of course not. They're going to run out soon, right? But this proves my point in the opposite direction, because usually I show you guys tomorrow morning, I'll show you guys how much the other ETFs bought, but I've been arguing like there's just not enough sellers out there. Who's going to be dumping billions upon billions upon billions? There's just not that much left out there to dump. So this probably, if I had to guess, because this is probably due to Genesis, they had to sell that 1.3 billion. Maybe they haven't started or they're not finished. So this probably attributes to that. I don't know, but we'll see. Eventually we'll find out. But it takes that much selling to bring Bitcoin down slightly. But no matter, we have the other ETFs that will soak it up. And we have Mr. 100 that continues to buy and bought 1,400 Bitcoin today. That's a lot. This person already has $3.1 billion worth of Bitcoin. And you know who I'm speculating? Who did I cover this morning? None other than Mr. Bezos, who happened to sell about $9 billion worth of stock recently. Could it be him that's been loading up? I mean, you're talking about someone with billions, okay? Someone with billions that's loading up millions per day. So it has to be someone really, really wealthy. Maybe this is Mr. Bezos because he wants to be the world's richest man, and he's going to do so with Bitcoin. He's going to catch up really, really quickly to Saylor and others, right? So basically, it doesn't matter if Grayscale sells 600 million. It's going to be eaten up. You got big whales that are buying up. You got big volume still coming to ETFs, and you have all the major banks like Wells Fargo, Merrill Lynch, that are now telling all their wealthy clients, go buy some Bitcoin ETFs. That's exactly what's happening. But you know who didn't offer Bitcoin ETF to their clients? That's Vanguard. So today, all of a sudden, Tim Buckley, the CEO of Vanguard, said he's stepping down at the end of the year. He's been there for 33 years. And again, Vanguard is considered one of the 4 companies that basically owns the world. They're on par, and some argue they are bigger than BlackRock. Okay, so for a CEO to step down, you don't take that lightly. Something happened. And Vanguard was one of the companies that recently said, no, we will not allow anyone to buy ETFs, Bitcoin ETFs specifically. So people are putting it together. Did he get forced out? Did he get fired due to the decision? Because the others, they've been making money hand over fist. Billions upon billions upon billions of volume, right? And they got left out. Or maybe Larry Fink finally won. I don't know. We could speculate, or it has nothing to do with this, but we like to think it does. Regardless, it's big news. And regardless, we got a lot more volume and a lot more buying to come. It's not going to stop. It's not going to stop anytime soon. Bitwise, who also has a Bitcoin ETF and doing quite well, their CIO went on air today and said a bigger wave is about to come in the next month. So if you think it's a big wave now, wait until the halving event and afterwards, because the waves will be much bigger. Much, much bigger. Let's listen to this real quick. This is actually pretty good. Just a few minutes of this.
Bitcoin this morning trading just at about 63,000 almost, $62,808. Has now jumped 50% since the start of the year and is nearing its all-time high, with much of that action driven by heavy interest in new spot Bitcoin ETFs. Our next guest helps run one of them. I want to bring in Bitwise Chief Investment Officer Matt Hogan. Good morning to you. When you look at what's been driving this price action on Bitcoin, Matt, how much of this is retail investors investing directly in Bitcoin? How much of it is the ETF? How much of it is institutions in the ETF?
Absolutely. It's a great question. We're seeing enormous demand for the Bitwise Bitcoin ETF and across all of these ETFs. And the answer is it's all of those categories. You're seeing retail investors come into these ETFs. You're seeing hedge funds. You're seeing RIAs or independent financial advisors. I think there's an even bigger wave coming in a few months as we start to see the major wirehouses turn on. But this has been Bitcoin's IPO moment. It's in a new era of price discovery. And I think prices could go substantially higher from here.
Let's talk about where they could go in just a minute. But I just want to go back to this idea of who you think is buying these ETFs, meaning how much of this is retail versus institutions?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when these ETFs first launch, they're not turned on at the major wirehouses, at the major institutions. So the initial demand out of the gate for any ETF, including these, is primarily retail and independent financial advisors and hedge funds. So I think that's the primary driver. That's what we're seeing. Right. But I'll tell you, after this meeting, I'm getting on a plane to go talk to one of the largest institutional consultants in the US about this ETF. So We're going to see that next wave of institutional capital.
You did mention hedge funds, which I will put in sort of an institutional.
I'll just end it there. But you heard it from the man. If you thought there was a lot of buying now, wait until the next wave comes. Okay? I guess there's very many different layers of institutional companies, right? I guess there's many different layers. So, man, it's going to get so crazy, so exciting, so FOMO-ish in the next few months. It's been exciting, but it's going to get even better. I did mention today, well, it's leap year and today's the end of the month, but Bitcoin is set to have the highest monthly jump in history. If it could go up a little bit, it has to be like above, I think this morning I covered, it has to be above like 61.5 or something like that. We're a little bit below it, but we are going to see the biggest monthly jump in Bitcoin's history. No month in 2021 closed at a higher gain than this month, assuming we could get back up there. If not, we're like tied for second, okay? It is absolutely phenomenal how fast we are moving right now, how fast we have recovered from bottom of $16,000, and we are not even at the halving event. We're way ahead of the game. But there is one guy, I'm quite surprised by this. You know, sometimes on this show, we hear about, you know, some of the other analysts being a little bearish, right? But I saw this call posted on X, and I couldn't believe what I was hearing. And that comes from Gareth Soloway. Let's take a listen to this.
Right into the Bitcoin chart. Right now trading above 60,000. So just a heads up, I always try to be transparent with you guys. I added my last add to my short on Bitcoin just above 60,000, bringing my average to about, I think it's 56,405, give or take. Don't quote me on that exact number to the dollar, but that's what I remember it being, 56,405. We'll see if I get wrecked or not, as some of you guys like to say. Let's get right into the Bitcoin.
So not only is Gareth bearish, he is tripling down or doubling down on his short position. I just think this is horrible, horrible. He's already down. I mean, his entry was at 57. So he just, I mean, I don't know. He put some more above 60,000. And stop confirmation at 70,000. Like, we're not that far off from 70,000. And the macro conditions of the ETFs and everything and the halving event that's coming up is so great. Who would dare to short Bitcoin? And his target is $30,000. Are you kidding me? He thinks we're going to drop 50% from our current level with the ETFs buying $500, $600, $700 million of Bitcoin per day? It makes no sense. This is just being irresponsible, in my opinion. And I like to see, I mean, he's calling out these numbers. Like, how much is he really putting? Like, is it just like a few $1,000s? You know, he says 10%, 20% of the portfolio. Is it just a few $1,000s? Or is he putting hundreds of $1,000s? Because that matters. I mean, you could short it and lose a few thousand, it's nothing. But if you're losing hundreds of thousands or millions, that shows what kind of conviction he has, right? So what I know is this. I'm looking at the liquidations for shorts. You could see they have been escalating. There's been a lot of short squeezes, a lot of shorts being wrecked. And the way we're going, Gareth is going to be one of those few that is going to get wrecked. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I really couldn't. You know, it's okay to be bearish. You can make calls like, yeah, okay, I think it's going to go down. But to actually announce that he actually put on a bigger short position and advising his clients to do so, that's just irresponsible. Anyways, moving forward, I am the opposite. I don't think Bitcoin's going to go to 30,000. I think Bitcoin's a lot more likely to break all-time high into 70,000 then go down to 30,000. I just don't see 30,000 ever again. I know that's dangerous to say. I just can't see Bitcoin being at 30,000 ever again in its history. I'm just going to make that call right now. Right? I see 70,000 around the corner. I see 70,000 before the halving event. And I don't know where we will be by the end of this year. Right? That's my position. And I could see it. And I show you guys. Like, I show you guys what I see. You can't discount the supply shock that's happening right now with all the buying. Demand is increasing. Supply is decreasing. And we know that. We can measure that. We could see that. The halving event is programmed. It's really that simple. It's really that simple. All right. Now, outside of Bitcoin, there is one specific niche that will probably do pretty well going forward. In fact, today, even though Bitcoin dipped down a little bit, you have a lot of winners. A lot of winners. Look at Solana, still holding strong, plus 10%. Even though Bitcoin dipped down a little bit, Solana's up. You got Cardano's up. You got all the meme coins up, like Doge, SHIB, Bonk. They're all up. You got Avalanche that's going up, right? You got a lot of winners today, despite Bitcoin taking a little breather. And the only reason why Bitcoin took a breather was because Grayscale dumped $600 million. It takes $600 million worth of dumping to bring Bitcoin down a little bit. But that didn't stop the money from flowing in, especially into some of these alts, right? So, what is this category? You may be wondering. What's this niche? Well, Ethereum, they have a hard date set. March 13th is when their big Denkun upgrade will happen. This is supposed to be a very significant upgrade, but more specifically towards the L2s. They introduced something called blobs, and some kind of new kind of proto sharding or something like that. What that means is just go make everything more efficient, especially the L2s. Makes them a lot cheaper because a lot of these have gone up so much. So it's going to make transactions much cheaper and more efficient. So we're talking about Arbitrum, Optimism, Manta, Starknet, Base, Metis. I actually have something about Metis today. And all these other ones. There are L2s for Ethereum. They will get better. They will get upgraded. So I expect all of them to do a lot better going forward after, March 13th, right? And Ethereum itself may get a little boost up until then. I don't know. They got a little boost recently because of the ETF hype, but maybe they're going to get a little boost because of this as well, right? And speaking of some of these L2s, some big news happened today. Robinhood at ETH Denver announced that they're partnering up with Arbitrum, and you could do decentralized swaps within the Robinhood wallet itself. That's pretty good. A lot of you guys don't know that Robinhood, yes, they have a platform, but they also have a wallet, a self-custody wallet. So you can actually transfer your crypto into it, and it's much safer. But now they're introducing decentralized. They're introducing decentralized swaps. So that's awesome. That's awesome. What else? Metis. Metis did a big announcement today, okay, within ETH Denver. In case you don't know, that is Vitalik's mom. Metis got a lot of fame because Vitalik's mom is like leading the way for Metis, right? So that's kind of interesting. But what did they announce? They announced a few things, but I think the biggest thing was that they're integrating with CCIP and Chainlink. Okay, obviously this is big. Whenever you integrate with Chainlink, it's a big thing. You get the security of a really robust Oracle system, but also allows you to make bridges and connections to many other chains and dApps. And also, they announced that they will be bringing on a new game, a PvP game from DeFi Kingdoms. That's big. In their speech, they talked about how they want to bring on games, and this will be big for DeFi Kingdoms. A lot of you guys know about DeFi Kingdoms. I'm very close with Dreamer, who also fought in the IFC. He's extremely ecstatic about this, and he's going to be announcing more stuff about this later on. So that also came out today as well. So all pretty good things. Pretty good things indeed. All right. Let's do some Q&A. Raining day stashing. No, that's not true. He didn't retire. Stepping down is not retirement. All right, let me scroll up here. Ted Murray says Gareth's been shorting since 15K, 20K, 22K, 40K, 50K, and 60K. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. And Kevin says, how can you take someone with that haircut seriously? Yeah, I don't know. Is it just me, or a lot of TA guys are bearish? You know, you guys know I'm not the biggest TA guy, right? I'm a fundamentals guy and a macro guy. And I think you can't, if you put two and two together, that's all that matters, especially if you're investing long term, right? And I've always said this, even when Bitcoin was at 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, I'm like, Bitcoin's fundamentals have never been as good as now. In fact, all-time high, and the price trails, right? And I said price will catch up. Look at what's happening. And also, I said ETFs, they're an amplifier, right? Basically, they allow so much liquidity to come in, liquidity that prior couldn't buy direct Bitcoin. And now that's happening. And look at what's happening, right? Like, that's all that matters long term. Short term, if you want to day trade, swing trade, yeah, TA works. But like, I don't know why these guys, some of these guys are so bearish with their calls. All right, let's see. Oops, I scrolled. Dark Empyrean. I mentioned Ben Tensor when I was 20. BitTensor's dev branched off and started Commune AI. Getting BitTensor vibes. Thoughts on it on CoinGecko? I don't know. I've never heard of it, so I can't say. Commune AI. Man, they're already big. They're not even that small. If this was like a 12 million or 16 million, I'll keep my eye on it. I'll keep my eye on it, but I don't know anything about it. The interior guy says, finally got all my coins off of Coinbase. Congrats. Dana CG Gareth. How will Stacks do? Price. It will do very well. I've been talking about Stacks a lot. And I think the better Bitcoin does, the higher it goes, the better Stacks does. It will go higher. Rocky Top says, my 2023 bonus hits next Friday. Which two, three alts do you think are still good buys? They're all good buys, man. They're all good buys. None of these alts, well, I take that back. Very little of these alts are above their previous high. I'm still bullish on Solana. Very bullish. I still think $1,000 by the end of this year. I think Avalanche can't be ignored. Chainlink I just talked about can't be ignored. These are all great buys. Immutable X, Cosmos, Stacks, just talked about Stacks. These are all fantastic buys. Injective, Optimism, Arbitrum. Got VeChain over here. They're all good buys, man. Are we going to see sell and made this year? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't see why. The halving event is like late April, so I don't see why we would get a sell-off in May. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Can we expect a 10x after halving? It depends on what you hold, but yes. Yes, for sure. Any idea on Zai seems dipping. Just because it dips doesn't mean anything has changed. Yo, is a low mileage 2009 Ferrari F40 Scuderia worth 308K? No, that seems very high. I've seen them as low as like 250. I mean, unless it's like under, 500 miles or something, but still, I would not pay 380 for a F430 Scuderia. It's not worth it. For 380, you're getting close to like the shoot, I'm drawing blank. What's after F430? $455? Is it? Man, why am I drawing blank on 458? I'm sorry. 458 Speciale. That is like mid 400s. That would be a much better buy. Jolamas, Cosmomatic are killing me. The staking awards help ease the pain, but at what point do we cut our losses and throw it into something else? It's up to you. It just depends on how big of a percentage they take up in your portfolio. If they're causing your portfolio to really lag behind because you hold large amounts of them, then you gotta diversify and take some of that away. Is it too late to buy Bonk or Whiff? No, Nigel. No. What about H-bar? Promising. Promising. Could you recommend any good TV series to watch right now? I mean, I've been watching on my TV when I'm flying. I've been watching Ted Lasso. It's good entertainment. Curb Enthusiasm came back, hilarious. Larry David's just such a freaking genius, man. Man, if I had his genius talent, I wouldn't be doing this. That's a hilarious show. I heard Halo Season 2 came out. I didn't watch it yet. Not a whole lot of other ones. I watched a Justin Timberlake Palmer movie on Apple TV. It was okay. It was going too far, but it was okay. You think Sol will outperform ETH? Yes. And will ETH get an ETF? Yes, both. I think both could happen this year. New meme coin Hemule. It's based on Vitalik's cat. I don't know. I don't know about that. Slap fight. Man, those slap fights are brutal. I can't do that. And I can't even watch them. I think it's too brutal to like get slapped like that and get knocked out. Like half the slaps knock the person out. In Time was a great Timberlake movie, yes. I love that movie. When I saw it, it was such a unique concept. I could see how something like that happens. But if you replace time with Bitcoin in that movie, it makes equal amount of sense. Except people don't die. But, in the movie, there's a limited amount of time. Just like there's a limited amount of Bitcoin, right? And whoever holds the most Bitcoin is going to have the most power and be the richest people on the planet. It's kind of the same thing. Do you think Cardano will stay in the top 10 in crypto? You know what? That's an interesting question. I don't give it much thought. I guess yes. But, you know, I say Chainlink, Avalanche, you know, Polygon, these guys could definitely crawl up in the top 10. So, I don't know. Cardano, whenever it seems like it's really weak, it just starts pumping. Like today, went up 6%. So, it could just stay in here. Rich says, you helped me not give up on Sol when it dropped to $8. I'm glad to hear that. $8 to $136. That's a big jump, my man. But I think Solana's gonna be fantastic. I think they're gonna have a really, really bullish year. People say ETFs can make BTC centralized. Well, there's a case you can make for that. The network will never be centralized because the network is spread around, you know, being mined and powered by many, many miners around the world. But as for who holds the most, like the supply, it could get to a point where it's a little decentralized, yeah. Bullish on Jupiter. I like Jupiter. And you know what? Because they're airdrop, and they're going to have 3 more airdrops, a lot of people are using the DEX, man. Like, even if I have to trade on Solana, I'm using Jupiter. I'm not even using Radium. ApeCoin, I've about given up on ApeCoin. It's in my DCA portfolio. It's still down like 90-something%. I don't think this will come back. They have to come out with that metaverse game, the other side, really quick and make it really good. Otherwise, ApeCoin is just a disaster. Seller Network, Cartesi, not bullish on either one. Simplex. Sol crashed the other day and didn't tank the price. So that's wrong. Based on H-bar movement, could they be a top 10? Anything's possible, but they need more. They don't have a whole lot of dApps or TVL. So they need a lot more. They need a lot more. Ivan, what do you do for your seed phrase? I just write it down and I put in well, I'm not gonna say what I do with that. Yeah, but I have some fire protection. Yes. You go, and I have double copies. So in case one gets damaged or lost or burned or whatever. So I do have duplicates. If you had to take a guess, what would the top of the market total capitalization? I guessed the other day, I think like 25 trillion would be very conservative and reasonable. It could be a lot higher because 25 trillion is only like 11x. So, and I think most in the market cap is going to be more than 10x. So I'd say 25 trillion. Do you see VET hitting $1 this cycle? Maybe. That's like a 20x, 25x. It's possible. It's possible. What was the last run's total market cap? That's a good question. I think it was like 10. I think it was like 10 trillion. Maybe less. Let's see if there's a history here. No, it looks like 3 trillion. 3 trillion at all time. So we're pretty close. We're pretty close already. So that shows you how fast we are. That's a good question because I'm going to use this. I mean, we didn't even hit 3 trillion last time in 2021, and we're at 2.2 something already. So we're really close to our previous market cap already. And we're still not at the halving event. That's kind of crazy if you think about it. How's the Ferrari doing? Take it out. I have not driven it for a long time. Weather is getting warmer, so I may be taking it out a little bit more. What do you think the current bull market began? Well, there's a couple definitions. The bull market is like when we get out of crypto winter. I think we started that when we hit bottom of 16K and started climbing up to 20K. I think that was early 2023, like February timeframe. So we started bull market then. No one just wanted to believe it. I said it and people didn't want to believe it. Now we're getting to the parabolic bull market, okay, when things start moving really quick. I think we kind of started that already, but technically it's supposed to start after a halving event. But yeah, we're ready starting. Skillful. Good night. Bought a new car yesterday. Did not touch my crypto. Congratulations. Whenever you can hold off on selling your crypto, especially now, would be good. I mean, I'm not saying that you should never take profits out. You should, especially as we get higher and higher and higher, and we're getting into 2025. You definitely want to take some profits. Make sure you lock in some of those gains, right? But like right now, even me, yeah, I hate selling crypto. I only sell it if I must. Otherwise, I don't. VCAD, thanks for the videos. Really appreciate it. No problem. No problem. Thanks for tuning in. Does Harmony One stand a chance this altcoin season? I hate to say it, but it'll probably pump towards end of 2025, but I have completely given up on that project based on talking to several people that were close to the project, and they gave me some really scary, testimonials, I guess. So I'm off the Harmony bandwagon. Isn't it amazing how we could hit these crazy numbers? Yes, that's the power of crypto. That's why Satoshi created Bitcoin, to give power back to the people, and it's like an equalizer. It allows retail investors to make a tremendous amount of money and wealth and catch up to the old money, so to speak. And those that have been in the longest have made the most money. So that's why I preach HODL and DCA. That's all I really care about. How much BTC do I need to become a millionaire? It depends on your time frame. One could make you a millionaire. One Bitcoin could eventually be a million and even be higher than a million. Probably not this cycle, but the next cycle. All right, guys. To conclude, you got everyone that's FOMOing in. You got two of the largest banks telling their clients, their rich clients, to buy Bitcoin. And the ones that didn't tell their clients to buy Bitcoin, well, it seems like they're kicking out their CEO. So stay strong, my friends. Today we had a little dip. And the only reason for that is because Grayscale somehow sold $600 million. They're not going to sell $600 million every single day. The other exchanges, the other ETFs, the whales, they will continue to buy. So hold strong, my friends. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Have a good one. Take care.